What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftings MMA picks for UFC Vegas 4, Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another DraftKings MMA Picks video. This time we are breaking down UFC Vegas 4. We have a great main event, obviously. Really looking forward to that. And the card from top to bottom is very solid. A lot of UFC newcomers, so going to be breaking that down for you guys. Before we start the video, if you guys can leave a like, also subscribe if you haven't yet. Really appreciate that. On my way to 3,000 subs. Thank you guys for that. Need about 95 more. So if you guys like my videos, if you enjoy my content, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out there. But coming off of a very weird week last week. It's always a weird week whenever two of the highest three owned guys lost. Max Roskopf, very, very chalky, and then Frank Camacho, extremely chalky, ended up getting knocked down in that first round. So whenever that happens, it's really hard to profit. I personally had a small profit. Cash really helped me. I got on Marc-Andre Barrio at 30% in cash, which was awesome. He scored 120, so ended up hitting cash pretty easy, even with 3 losses in there due to the Roskopf chalk. I was surprised how chalky he was in cash, but that was awesome. Really helped me out there, and then ended up finishing 6th in the $1 150 mini max as well. So had a decent profit. Could have had an absolute monster night if either Roskopf or even Camacho won. Had like 40% Barrio, had 50% Emmett. Played a lot of the right plays. It's just whenever these chalky guys come out here and lose when they're supposed to win, it's just really hard to have a very good night. So hopefully none of that happens here. And with that said, let's break down this card from a DraftKings perspective. Always also going to be doing the predictions as well, where I go deeper into the fights, giving my predictions and breaking those as well. It's going to be on my channel. And also going live again on Friday for the 3rd time in a row. Like 100 people, like around 100 people showed up last time. So if we can get another 100 people in there, that'd be awesome. Just keep growing that live stream where I go over DraftKings, I go over betting, final thoughts, weigh-ins, lots of good stuff on there. Also tell you guys some of the bets that I'm placing, just lots of good stuff. And I also answer questions for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how many questions I get, but probably won't go more than an hour there. But let's start with the fight. Does not go to decision lines here. Hooker, Poirier, minus 285. Fight does not go to decision. I can make a case where this does go to decision. Both these guys are very, very tough. We've seen Hooker go to decision his past 2 fights against Ally Quinta and also against Paul Felder in that war. He was in an absolute war with Paul Felder. A lot of people thought that Felder won that fight. I thought it was very close. I thought it could have went either way for either guy. I wouldn't have complained either way, but Hooker ended up winning that decision. It was a close fight, but Hooker did up winning that as a decision. But Poirier did lose his last fight to Khabib. No shame in that. One of the best fighters in UFC history, so no shame in that at all. I can make a case where either Poirier finishes Hooker late, or Hooker maybe gets Poirier out of there early. But this is the fight you're going to want to target 100%. You're going to want to be 100% on this fight, especially with the pricing. I thought the pricing was a little weird for the Poirier and Hooker fight here. I thought Poirier was going to be like in the 9,000. So when I saw him at 8,700, I was very intrigued because he's like a minus 220 favorite. So at 8,700, that's pretty good there. So, and on the flip side, Hooker 7,500. Honestly, I think it should be like a little bit lower than that. I thought he was going to be lower than that, but 7,500 is fine. If he wins either way, whether it's by decision, whether it's by knockout, he's going to hit value. Either of these guys, with their volume, they're going to hit value. So 100% on this fight for me. As for Perry and Gall, minus 265, fight does not go to decision. I do think this fight probably ends inside the distance, more likely being Perry winning by knockout. I'll get into it a little bit more, but I'm definitely leaning the Perry knockout. On the flip side, if you want to play some Gall, you're banking on Gall be able to get Perry down, which is not going to be the easiest thing, but I'll get into like the Perry stuff in a little bit, but I don't know really where Perry's head's at. Allen, Dawkins, minus 245, fight does not go to decision. Allen has finished both of his fights in the UFC. He typically finishes most of his wins there. Dawkins has finished, I think, 8 out of his 9 wins, all by submission. So this is going to be a really good fight to target, even on both sides here. Allen's like 9,200. Dawkins is like 7,000. The winner's obviously probably going to score high. I think Allen can, either get him out of there with some ground and pound, maybe find a submission, or on the flip side, maybe Dawkins finds a submission. So I'll get into that a little bit more, but I'm definitely favoring Allen there. And another fight, Vellante versus Green, minus 215. Fight does not go to decision. Another fight I do think ends inside the distance here. You have two guys with a lot of power. As we know, Volante's moving up in a weight class, so don't know if that power is going to translate to this heavyweight weight class here. And Green, someone that has power, someone that has some good BJJ as well as for a heavyweight. Just don't really see this going the distance. Both these guys don't have the best cardio in the world, especially Volante. So definitely can see this ending inside the distance. Probably going to play both sides of this with a pretty big lean on Green, but something you want to target on both sides. Okay, gonna mess up this last name, but Brahimaj versus Sato, -175. Fight does not go to decision. I like this fight a lot to target. I do think this fight ends inside the distance, whether it's Sato with a knockout or Brahimaj with a submission. Brahimaj has finished, I think, all of his fights by submission, or at least like 90% of them by submission. And Sato's a guy with power, and I'll get into it a little bit more, but definitely a fight I want to have both sides. All right, now we will go to the core plays here. First core play of mine is Dustin Poirier, 8,700. If he wins by decision, he's going to hit value at 8,700, 5-round fight. Lots of volume for Dustin Poirier. Can definitely load up the volume on Hooker. Hooker gets hit a lot. As I mentioned last week with like Josh Emmett versus Burgos. Burgos got hit a lot. Emmett was able to rack up like 120 significant strikes, something crazy like that. I think Poirier is going to be able to rack up a lot of significant strikes. Hooker has taken a lot of damage in his last fight with Felder. He took a lot of damage against Barbosa. I am picking Poirier to win here. And I do think he can even finish Hooker later in that fight or just win a decision here. So I like Poirier. On the flip side of things, I am 100% for sure playing some Hooker for sure. 7,500. If he wins, it's going to be on the optimal lineup. 100% owned to this fight for sure. No question about it. And especially in 150 max, I'm still going 100% on this fight. I don't see a possible scenario where this fight does not end up on the optimal lineup, no matter what happens. So fight I'm going to be fairly heavy on. Poirier going to have a lot more than Hooker, but I will for sure have some Hooker, although I am picking Poirier. Sean Woodson, 8,800, going against Julian and Rosa. First, against Kyle Nelson, I kind of gave Kyle Nelson a shot, like a puncher's chance, but against Julian Erosa, I like Woodson a lot more. Like, Erosa's going to give the fight that Woodson wants. Woodson, very, very talented fighter, 7-0 in MMA. But he does have a boxing background. I think he was like 63-3 in boxing, which is a phenomenal record there. So I like Woodson quite a bit. I think he can finish Erosa as well. Woodson doesn't have the best power in the world, but he throws a lot of volume. So I think he's going to really beat up on Erosa, probably get him out of there late in that fight, or even if he wins a decision, probably going to get like 120 around there, significant strikes, especially with that small cage. I see him landing a lot. So give me Woodson at 8,800. The line has not came out on Julian Erosa versus Sean Woodson yet, I don't believe. But I'm expecting Woodson to be like -350, -400 would probably be pushing it, but would not be surprised. But there's going to be a lot of line value on Woodson as well. So I like Woodson quite a bit. Luis Pena, 8,900. Pena's a guy I typically don't play. He's a guy that's typically priced up in like the 9,200 range, 9,100 range. And he's somebody I typically, tend to fade. And sometimes it works out, sometimes he hasn't. He scored over 100 points 2 times, one with a submission, one with a knockout. And I just like this matchup for him a lot against Kama Worthy. I don't think Worthy is UFC material at all. I think Pena's the better fighter everywhere. As we know, Worthy was able to knock out Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith was a -1,000 favorite. That's why I think the line's where it's at. Pena's like -160, -170. I think if that Devontae Smith fight never happened, we might see Pena like -500 here. So there is some recency bias, and Pena didn't have the most exciting performance last time against Garcia. That's why I think there is some of that recency bias. But Pena, I like him to win this fight. I think it's safe, and I think it has upside. And I think it's going to be a little owned because Pena typically doesn't score too well, but there is some fights where he scored like 120, 117. And I think that can possibly happen here, especially if he gets Worthy down. If he's able to take Worthy down, I think he's going to submit him here. So, and even Worthy's been knocked out like 5 or 6 times in his career. And Worthy's never lost by decision. So something very important there. He's never lost by decision. So I think if Pena wins, he's probably going to get a knockout, or he's probably going to get a submission. So, and judging by, Pena's reaction to his last fight, he was very upset that he was not able to put on a very fun performance. So I'm thinking he's going to come out here and try to put on a very fun fight, which, could backfire on him with Worthy having that power, or, it can, do very good for him and allow him to get a finisher, which would be awesome because I do like Pena quite a bit. Maurice Green, 8,600, going against Jean Vellante. Volante's coming up weight class. I think he's going to struggle against Green. He's going to be at a huge size advantage. I don't think Vellante, his power is going to translate up to heavyweight. I think Volante's path to victory is going to be a knockout. Green has a pretty decent chin. I think Green's been finished like once by Pavlovich, which no shame in that at all. Pavlovich is a very good fighter. But I like Green here quite a bit. I think he can land that knockout on Vellante. We've seen Vellante knocked out like, 4 or 5 times, something like that. So Vellante has been finished before. I can definitely see it happen here again. Vellante has a very poor gas tank. I think Green can either finish him early, finish him late. As long as Green, as long as Green does not get knocked out himself, which, I'm kind of struggling to see a path where he does get knocked out, I think Green takes this fight fairly easy. 8,600. I think he can get a possible first-round finish, so I like that price at 8,600 as a core play of mine. All right, GPP plays. Brendan Allen, 9,200. I like this play a lot. He scored 108 and 102 in his UFC fights so far against probably better competition. But this fight is honestly a lot closer than it seems. Dawkins has very, very, very good BJJ, as does Allen, and Allen's improving every single fight. Allen's typically a guy who I wasn't too high on, but he's proved me wrong his past 2 fights. He's been looking good. He's been making improvements every single fight he has. So I think he's the better striker on the feet. I think he's the stronger fighter. I think if someone gets us to the ground, it's probably Allen going on top. But he's got to be very careful when he's on top because Dawkins is going to throw up a bunch of submissions nonstop. He's looking for an arm. He's looking for a leg. He's looking for a neck. Dawkins is very, very active off his back. So I am playing both sides of this, but Allen's obviously a very good play. It's definitely favored to end inside the distance, like I mentioned earlier in the video. So it's something you want to have. But at the same time, would I be surprised if Allen got caught in something? Not at all. So that for that reason, I will have some Dawkins just to kind of hedge. But Allen's a very good play at 9,200, and I think you are able to go up and pay for some of these guys in the 9,000s with how the pricing is this week, especially with guys like Dan Hooker 7,500, and there's also some underdogs that I'll get into. But Allen should be a fine play. Allen should win. It's just a little concerning there. If he does go to the mat, I'll hold my breath the whole time, but he should be fine. He's improving every fight. His BJJ is very, very good, so I think he'll be fine. Takashi Sato, 8,400. I like this play quite a bit. I think he needs to keep this fight standing. If he can keep this fight standing, I like his chances a lot. I think he's the better striker by far. It's not even close. I think he has the better gas tank. He hits very hard. Honestly, has not impressed me too much in the UFC. Remember, he knocked out Ben Saunders in that second round. Ended up losing to Bilal Muhammad by submission as well. And he's lost by submission twice in his career, which that's why I think that they're matching him up here with Brahimaj. But yeah, Sato, I think if he keeps it standing, I like his chances a lot. I like his cardio. I like the power. And at 8,400, I would not be surprised if he did get a second-round knockout, maybe a first-round knockout. But I think if he weathers that storm, he's for sure live here. Not too many people are picking him. I'm actually picking Sato here to win, coming against like a UFC newcomer. We saw it last week, like Max Roskopf. A UFC newcomer looked amazing on tape. It seems a little bit like that. Like Max needed to come in there, get takedowns, was able to get a couple. Second round was not able to get them. Ended up looking, not as good as he did on tape. I think the same thing is probably going to happen here with Brahimaj. Like he's not going. If he doesn't get those takedowns, he's going to look pretty bad. I think because I did not like his striking. I did not like his cardio, and those are two things you're going to want to have. So I'm going to side with the experience with Sato to get a finish here. But on the flip side, I will play some Brahimaj as well. Because if he does get Sato down, I think he can get a submission. Jordan Griffin, 8,200. This is a guy who will be losing the whole fight until he pulls off a sub. So, I'm picking him to lose the fight, but would I be surprised if he got a submission? Not at all. I don't think Zalal's ever been submitted. But Griffin has very, very good submissions, and I think Zalal's going to try to take Griffin down at some point. And, Griffin always finds a way. So, not many people are going to have Griffin. It's one of the first fights of the night. I think it was supposed to be the first fight of the night, but they changed it or something. But 8,200, obviously, if he gets a submission in any round, he's paying that off. So something I'm going to look at there, something I'm going to play, but I am picking Zalal. I think if you're looking for more upside between Zalal and Griffin, it's got to be Griffin. I think if there's a finish, it's going to be Griffin in that fight. Mike Perry 9,000. Got into it a lot on my prediction video, but lots of stuff going around with Mike Perry. I mean, he wants his girlfriend in his corner. He said he doesn't need coaches. He moved training camps. Just a lot of signs pointing downwards for Mike Perry, which is concerning here because I like him in the spot. If Mike Perry was coming in like a normal, Mike Perry's always been kind of weird, but like a normal Mike Perry, I would pick him here all day. It's just so concerning with his girlfriend in the corner. You see videos of him, hitting the pad with his girlfriend. It's not a good look, but I am going to have a lot of Mike Perry. I think all that stuff will drive his ownership down. I see a decent amount of love for Mickey Gall as well. And I do like Mike Perry to win. I like him to get a knockout. Just look at the competition Mike Perry's face is far and beyond the competition that Mickey Gall's face. So I think Mike Perry's going to win. I think he's going to win by knockout. Going to have a pretty decent amount of him. I like him at 9,000. I think he should roll here. I think he has good wrestling. I think he has good enough wrestling to stop the takedowns, and that's Gall's only path to victory. So give me Mike Perry here all day. It's just some concerns floating around that we got to look out for. Miranda Maverick 9,100. She looks good. She looks good on tape going against Barella. I can't pick Barella here at all, and that's why I will have a decent amount of Maverick. I think Maverick's definitely live to finish his fight. Barella's been knocked out 3 times. Maverick does not have a knockout on her record, though, and Barella's been submitted once, her last fight against Casey. Maverick looks pretty good on the feet. I think Maverick's better pretty much everywhere. I think it'd be smart for Maverick probably to get Barella down. I think she's able to. I just don't think Barella's a very good fighter, and that's why Maverick's a minus 300 favorite here. As for her scoring on DraftKings, she's probably going to need to get a finish. And I think she could get it, whether it's a ground and pound victory or a submission. But I just think Maverick's better overall. Honestly, I'd probably rather play Perry or Allen, or like Poirier or guys like that before I went to Maverick. But definitely somebody I'm going to have for sure. Kay Hansen, 8,500. I believe this is the first fight of the night, and I've been preaching it the past couple months. The first fight of the night has been money for me. I like Kay Hansen here to win this fight, and I think between the two fighters, I think she's going to be the one that has the opportunity to score more. She has a more DraftKings friendly style. I was watching her on tape. She goes for takedowns right away. She's very active with looking for submissions, looking to move position, looking to get advances. That's DraftKings gold right there. She's 8,500. We've seen her opponent get finished before many times. We've seen her knocked out twice. I think she got submitted twice as well. But Hansen, 8,500. Somebody you're want to look at there. Going to be low owned especially if it's the first fight of the night. I'm not sure if it is. They changed it around like 2 times, but if it is the first fight of the night, she's going to be low owned. Nobody knows who Kay Hansen is. 8,500, like in that mid range. I'm taking a shot on Kay Hansen because I do think she can get takedowns. I do think there's a possibility for her to get a finish as well. So yeah, give me Hansen as a sneaky, very sneaky GPP play. All right, now we got the live dogs here. Dan Hooker, 7,500. He's always live in any fight he's in. He for sure can knock out Dustin Poirier, and that's why I'll have some Dan Hooker. I'm picking Poirier to win, but Hooker's for sure live 100%. So going to be having a decent amount of Hooker. Right now, I'm thinking maybe 60-40 in favor of Poirier, maybe 70-30 in favor of Poirier, but I'm for sure having Hooker. As for stacking it in cash, I love the stack in cash this week. I love it. Hoping a lot of people don't do it because I think that if Poirier wins, it's probably going to be like a late finish or even a decision. So Hooker's going to rack up a lot of volume, even in a loss, probably score pretty decent. So I like to stack a lot for cash this week. Ramiz Brahimaj, 7,800, another live dog. Like I said, if he gets this on the ground, he's probably going to beat Sato. Lots of hype around this kid. He's very, very good BJJ, does not have the best striking, does not have the best cardio. But if he does get Sato on the ground, I think he's going to get a submission. So for sure live, for sure a nice GPP play there. So somebody I'm going to have ownership to. Tanner Boser, 7,900. Not somebody that's really going to, score too much. I think he's going to have some decent volume in there. Maybe just enough to score value there. Maybe 85 points in a win. Going against Philippe Lands, someone who does not throw much either. Somebody that was really disappointing. Philippe Lands against Andrei Arlovski's last fight. But Boser has very, very good leg kicks. I think he's going to implement those. I think he's going to throw more volume than Lands. And as long as Boser does not get knocked out, I think he's going to win this fight. And I think Boser can possibly even hurt Lands with those leg kicks. Bozer has very, very good leg kicks, and we've seen 2 finishes by leg kicks so far in that smaller cage. So I do think he can possibly hurt Lins with those leg kicks, maybe get him out of there as well. So give me Bozer 7,900. I'll play a little bit. Just don't see much upside in that fight overall. I think it's going to be pretty low volume. Yusuf Zalal 8,000. He's probably going to get takedowns here. He's probably going to dominate the whole fight pretty much unless he gets submitted. 8,000. Mid-range. Pretty much got to play him. So don't mind that at all. It's just if there is a finish, I do think it's going to be Griffin. But Zalal could score decent in decision, especially that price at 8,000. You want to take a look at it. Pump plays. Kama Worthy went over it a little bit. If he wins, it's going to be by knockout, knocking out Pena. Pena has a very good chin, but it definitely can happen. We've seen, Worthy upset Smith before, so I'll have some Worthy. I like Pena quite a bit. Kyle Dawkins, 7,000. Very, very extremely good BJJ. Maybe he catches Allen and something from the bottom. So definitely something to look at there. I do think he's live for sure. I think both these guys are live, but definitely going the other way on them. But I will have some exposure just in case they do pull off that upset. Fades, only have one here. Don't really see an opportunity to fade too many fighters on here, but Mara Morera-Brillo, it's just hard to put ownership on her at 7,100. Maybe she wins an ugly decision. I think she's the worst fighter in this fight, and I don't see how she wins this fight really, unless maybe a fluke knockout, something like that. I just don't see her able to win this fight. If she does, maybe like I said, a weird decision, scoring like 70, 75 points. It's not gonna be enough to get on the optimal lineup. All right, guys, that's about it. Become a member of my Patreon and receive full access to my model, customizable optimizer, premium projections, GPP lineup percentages, premium breakdown and strategy video, and my DraftKings article. It's the 24th right now, so you probably want to wait, sign up on the 1st of next month, especially for that the Fight Island card, July 11th. It's going to be the best card of the year. It's stacked, so you might want to wait until sign up on the 1st, unless you guys want to sign up now. It's only like $5 for the regular MMA package. Lots of good stuff on there. It's definitely worth it if you guys sign up, today or tomorrow or the next day. But I can definitely understand if you guys want to get the most value out of your money starting on the beginning of the month, where I do start charging. So that's about it. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. Also subscribe if you haven't yet. Really appreciate that. Like I said, almost at 3,000 subscribers. Hopefully we get that soon. And yeah, make sure you guys tune in Friday for my live video going live. Come in, ask questions, going over DraftKings, going over weigh-ins, going over final thoughts, bets, all that good stuff, and many more. So make sure you guys tune in Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I will be posting it. So make sure you guys come in and check that out, and let's win some money this weekend on DraftKings.